morning, people. So, this morning, it's interesting. The messages I've been getting from Source or from my higher self or whatever you want to call it have really been showing me how lonely people are. And this time of year it is lonely, especially if you're in a northern part of the world where it's cold. I guess even the southern part, even though you don't really see that very much unless you're going to the South Pole for research. But they don't really show you many people down in the icy part of southern part of the world. But if you're in northern America or even overseas in Europe or Russia, and it's like wet, cold, rainy, snow, and you're not going out and seeing people very much. You don't get to go outside and play in the dirt. The connection we would normally have to nature, to mother, even just walking on the street and seeing other people. We don't have a lot of that this time of year. It's definitely a time of year where things are darker, and a lot of people, instead of embracing the darkness and using it as a time for self-reflection and growth and healing, they tend to get stuck in those negative energies of I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, nobody's here, I'm all alone. Ugh, cat hair. Ugh. I love my mom's cat, but yeah, that's a lot of hair. Anyways, we get stuck, right, in those negative energies. And I'm no better. I mean, I've had my days where I'm like, man, I'm doing this again all alone. And I mean, really, I'm not. I'm staying at my mom's. And my kids are here, my dogs are here, my mom's here, my mom's cat. I'm in my mom's basement, if you can't tell. Everyone's sleeping. I'm the only one who wakes up at like the crack of frickin' dawn. The sun's not even up yet. So yeah, I know that I have had my moments. And I've already, done a lot of healing. I've already done a lot of trauma therapy. I've already done a lot of self-reflection, and I've dug deep into my shadows and my ego, and I'm learning how to work with them so they don't control me. My shadows, I'm loving how I'm integrating them into me as a person. I think anyone who's had any kind of serious trauma is going to have some shadows, but to know that your shadows are not a bad thing, okay? They can be actually some of your greatest strengths. The trick is to learn how to integrate them into yourself so that they don't control you, so you're not stuck letting fear or anger or jealousy or any of those feelings like really dig their claws in and make you do crazy, unpredictable shit. It's good to acknowledge the feelings and ask yourself why you're having them with an open, compassionate, non-judgmental way, but don't let them control your behavior, right? Like any intense, passionate emotion. And if you're like me and you feel emotions intensely and passionately, you really have to make sure that you pause and be like, okay, this is intense. I'm not going to do anything stupid just yet. Let me think about it. And you don't even really need to think. It's more about feeling it and then asking it why it's there and seeing what belief it's connected to. And wording can be huge. Sometimes just changing the wording. I've been listening to a lot of Teal Swan lately, and I absolutely love the things that she's been addressing. The one thing I heard yesterday was the wording, right? Like, I create my own reality, and she was addressing this, and it to me, it made perfect sense, because if you're creating your own reality and you're making it all about you're making it all about an individual power trip, right? Like, you have the power to control your reality. You're honestly doing the exact opposite of what you're supposed to do in a spiritual journey, a spiritual awakening, which is learning how to co-create with source energy and surrender to your calling, to the part of you that has already known what your purpose here on earth is. Yes, you get to make all those little choices in between, but whatever your true calling is, the part that's going to make your heart, your soul so happy, that's something that you've known since before you came to earth. And learning to trust that your higher self, that source knows that what that is, can be a challenge, right? So that is like the main part, is learning how to surrender, is learning how to co-create. So when you're saying I create my own reality, I think the wording really needs to be changed. You can say I co-create my reality, or I surrender to the flow, or I mean, my favorite is I just say I am. I've stopped making stories, and when I catch myself making a story, I'm like, can I make that story more fun? So you know what I've been doing? Because I like to make stories all day long. I don't know if you're like me. A lot of neurodivergent people, our brains are like, spin tops. So I'll find myself, you know how like ADHD people or whoever you want to label yourself as, I've kind of given up on labels, by the way. But if you find yourself making up stories to go with situations or scenarios, or you're like playing the scenario out in your head before you get there, I've been making them as fantastical as possible. Do you know what I mean? Like out of this world. Like instead of imagining finding my true love at a coffee shop, I'm imagining I'm outside walking in the field and an alien spaceship lands. You know what I mean? Like just out of this world. And it seems like a little kid thing to do. It seems like a crazy thing to do. But I feel like in my heart of hearts, something's telling me that the more impossible I dream, the more impossible things will happen. Like the more miracles will happen, right? Because what is a miracle? Something we thought was impossible coming to life. So what if we learn how to make miracles by believing in the impossible? Because we're limitless. Isn't that amazing? So if you are feeling lonely, and if you are feeling like the darkness is starting to consume you this time of year, I want you to do anything you can to make yourself feel connected to other people again, because that's numero uno, right? I honestly am a huge believer that the opposite of addiction, no matter what your addiction is connection. There's a lot of studies. Look up Dr. Huberman, look up the rat studies. There's a lot of studies that talk about connection and how lack of connection can lead to addiction, which is one of the biggest concerns I have, I think, for social media and online games that keep kids away from connecting with other people, person to person, face to face, or even on a phone, like a call, like a voice, because it's just not the same with the typing. It's just not, right? Like when you look into somebody's eyes, or you hear their voice, or you see their body, it's a totally different chemical reaction in your body, as well as an emotional and mental reaction. I finally got my undercut done, totally off topic. Even my gray is like really showing. I always forget how much hair I have until I do my undercut. And then it's like, wow, yeah, you still have a butt ton of hair. And then all my undercut comes off. I'm like, oh man, that feels so much better. I've had thick, long hair most of my life. So it feels so much nicer. I'm going to braid it later. Yeah, so back to that. To sum this up, if you're feeling lonely and you're having a dark period, just know, first of all, it's normal. That's what winter's about. Winter is a time where people should be resting, should be hibernating, should be doing their self-reflection, should be flowing with Mother Earth, right? She's resting right now. She's hibernating. A lot of her animals are. They're taking time to rest and recoup, regain strength. If you are not in a place where you can be with other people, like on, a social level, or you're not comfortable with it, just go sit in a coffee shop. Watch people. It can make a huge difference. And if you get brave enough, say hi to somebody, even if it's just the old guy sitting having coffee alone who's going to tell you the same story 6 times. It's sometimes better than being alone, because we need connection. So that's numero uno. Second is I want you to talk to yourself, get to know yourself. It's a really great time to do that. And then when you're ready, look into a spiritual journey, look into self-awareness, mindfulness, meditation, anything. Because all those coaching and manifestations for making money, they shouldn't be selling you on making money. They should be selling you on how to love yourself, because that's the whole point. Becoming your authentic self and loving yourself. And that will lead to success in all areas of life. Money, house, love, everything. You won't have to worry about manifesting. So yeah, you guys can do this. If I can do it, you can do it. Love you guys.